The southern Indian state of Kerala is set to declare itself free of extreme poverty. It would be the first Indian state to hit this milestone. The World Bank defines extreme poverty as people living on less than $2.15 a day. But economists say Kerala still has a lot of work to do to tackle broader poverty, which is still widespread there and across the country. Rebecca Bundhun filed this report for CNA from Mumbai.
Nowhere is India's wealth gap more visible than in the financial capital. Mumbai is home to the most billionaires in the country, who live alongside sprawling slums, where many struggle to earn a few dollars a day. But some 1,500 kilometres south of Mumbai, the state of Kerala says it's making inroads in the battle against poverty by lifting the poorest of the poor out of a cycle of severe and chronic lack of basic needs, like food and clean water, shelter and sanitation.
There is a clear difference between poverty and extreme poverty. So we launched this scheme to eradicate extreme poverty.
MB Rajesh, who's part of the Communist Party of India, Marxist, which leads the ruling coalition in Kerala, explains that to achieve this, the state government started out by identifying more than 64,000 families as extremely poor in 2021, about 0.4% of its population. Instead of using income as an indicator, the government looked for households that had fallen through the cracks.
These are the families who were not touched by any welfare schemes implemented so far. These are the most disempowered, voiceless families. The definition of extreme poverty is that those people whose survival is at risk without the support and helping hands from the state.
Various government departments in Kerala over the past 4 years have worked to provide food, shelter, medical care, basic documents and scholarships for children. On the federal level, India has made some progress too, with extreme poverty down to 2.3% in the 2023 financial year, from just over 16% about a decade ago. But economists say poverty as a whole remains a deep-rooted problem across the country. The Global Hunger Index ranks India 102nd out of 123 countries, and reveals that 1 in 3 children under 5 years old here are stunted, a sign of chronic malnutrition.
If you count all these corroborating evidences, the picture that emerges very clearly is that deprivation and poverty are still mass reality among the Indian people. That is why a number of people have issues or differences of opinion with the government when they say that poverty has drastically come down.
Part of the problem is how poverty should be defined and measured. The most recent Indian government data shows that in the 2023 financial year, there were 75 million people in the country below the international poverty line, set at $3 per person a day by the World Bank. That compared to 205 million just over a decade earlier, who were living below the poverty rate of $2.15 back then. There have been a number of government schemes introduced, including employment and housing programs. But Professor Ramakumar says these certainly haven't reached everyone.
Overall inequality levels have increased, so it's clearly somebody who has lost out in the whole process of social and economic change.
Studies show the top 1% of Indian households control about 40% of the country's wealth, while for the bottom 5%, survival is a daily struggle. Thousands of people live here on either side of this railway track, within a hair's breadth of passing trains. The tiny cramped makeshift homes, the dirt, the noise and danger of the trains. This is the reality here, a poverty trap from which there is no clear escape route. 2 NGOs, the Kana Chayo Foundation and Adarsh Foundation, have teamed up to provide meals and education to kids in this community in the Kurla area of Mumbai. Their founders explained that the COVID-19 pandemic was a huge setback to any progress that had been made.
अगर किसी को है तो पहली पोजीशन नहीं है या उतना उनका सैलरी अभी नहीं आ रहा है, तो ये पॉवर्टी का जो फंडा है अभी तक यहाँ से तो रिमूव नहीं हुआ, यहाँ से हुआ ही नहीं, हम फिर पिछले 5 साल के लिए नीचे आ गए हैं।
There's agreement that access is key, especially to education and better jobs. But for now, the priority for too many Indians is still about making sure their kids have food on the table and a roof over their heads. For CNA, I'm Rebecca Bundhun in Mumbai.